It wasn't his calf, it was his fibula. And it's fine. He had a little bit of discomfort yesterday, and because he was looked at by a trainer during practice yesterday and missed a couple of reps, he had to be listed on the injury report. Those are the rules. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been. It made a lot of people wig out. Shouldn't have wigged out. Nothing's wrong with Daniel Jones. He's just fine, and he's going to be good to go on Sunday. Also good to go despite being questionable for Sunday. Mooney Ward is good to go. He's ready to get back out onto the field. The media, we had a chance to talk to him today, listen to him. I got to tell you, if you got to watch a video and listen to his response to, I think it was the last question. James Boyd asked a question about how he got through the emotional aspect of that concussion, because it was pretty serious. He's had other dings in the past where it was kind of like a migraine and it went away. This, he was vomiting, he was dizzy, he couldn't really focus. This was misery until the bye week when he started to feel a little bit better. So he was asked about how he dealt with it, and he said, you know what, I've had a lot more painful things in my life than that. This was not a big deal in comparison. And we know what he was talking about. He lost his daughter just over a year ago, and she died. She had a heart defect. She had she was born with Down syndrome as well. And so, yeah, he's had greater pain than recovering from a concussion, for sure. And when you saw the pain in his eyes that was really, really apparent, you felt like, okay, yeah, sometimes we forget that these guys are human beings. They're human beings. Yeah, they make a lot of money. They have a lot of fun playing football, right? They also live the lives of human beings. We found that out with Braden Smith last year when he had to take that hiatus and kind of had to get his head back together because he had suicidal ideations. So, yeah, these are guys. These are human beings. And they deal with a lot of the same stuff that we do. They just deal with it while having, a really unique professional life. So, but Mooney Ward, watch that video and tell me you don't feel for this guy and you don't root for him. He and Sauce Gardner, by the way, are going to be the best bookend corners in the National Football League. Patrick Mahomes is a magician. How do you stop him? I don't know. And he hasn't sagged at all this year. They just played in bad luck. Watch a tape. Watch how they've lost some of these games. Watch how they lost to the Jaguars. My God. Like, Trevor Lawrence dropped the football. He fumbles it in the midst of handing it off. The ball's just laying there. He picks it up and runs it into the end zone. How's that even happen? You had other elements of that game that were just screwy beyond measure. That's how they've lost these close games. At some point, it's going to even out, although they won something like 18 one-score games in a row. So maybe this is the ending or the evening out. We're going to talk about how this game is really, really important. And it is really, really important because the rest of the schedule for the Colts is a gauntlet. From an opposing team's record perspective, as it stands right now with the Texans winning last night, this is the easiest game the Colts got left on the schedule. This is the only team they play minus a winning record. The Chiefs are really, really good. Who do I like in tonight's semi-state high school football games? I'm going with South. I'm going with Brownsburg. I'm going with Merrillville in the Northern 5A. Yeah. So those are the ones that, like, off the top of my head, I got. We're going to talk about the remaining schedule. Statistically, you look at it and you're like, whew, I'm glad we're 8-2. Not being 8-2, this might be a gauntlet you don't survive. Being 8-2, you got to figure with the quality of offensive play that the Colts have shown through 10 games, you got to figure that this team is going to come out of the season 10-7 at absolute worst. I mean, that's the floor. And likely, more likely, 11-6, 12-5, something like that. 13-4, you get a little like, the orb of wisdom is wet. It's raining, and we don't do shows in the rain. Not because I don't love the rain, but because the machine doesn't like the rain. You can't do outdoor stuff in the rain with a camera. This is Inside Indiana. Oh, by the way, Butler with a big win. Pacers tonight. And did we overreact to the Hoosiers' really unimpressive 20-point win last night against Lindenwood? This is Inside Indiana Sports Now with Ken Sterling for Friday, November 21st, 2025. Brought to you by the great people at YouTube TV. Sign up. Use the link in the show description. All right, just below here, it'll be up as soon as this live ends. You sign up using that link, and you get $15 off your first month. Become a member, and you can join us. We'll be outside tomorrow. It's going to be nice tomorrow. We'll be outside for the member hoedown, the member hobnob, the member discussion. We talk about sports. We take all comments. We discuss them, but it's for members only. A breakfast buddy membership, an all-meal deal membership, either one, fine. You are invited to participate. Come with us and enjoy. Make sure and like this video. Make sure and become a subscriber because subscribers can win prizes. We got autographed Colts swag going out the next 4 Mondays. You must be a subscriber to be eligible, and you have to use the phrase that pays in order to enter. You have to do that in a comment. So the phrase that pays today is Colts on track. There it is, Colts on track. They're on track because the injury bugaboo has kind of sated a little bit, been sated, and all you really have now is Jalen Carlisle, who has not been activated for Sunday's game, and DeForest Buckner, who is on IR. All right, let's talk about Colts on track. Absolutely, William. Let's talk about the Colts, about Daniel Jones, not a calf injury. As was reported on the injury report yesterday, they said it was a calf. Upon further review, after the injury report was released, they discovered that it was actually a fibula. So it's a fibula. In either case, it's not a big deal and it's not a problem. Now, a lot of people, when they hear calf injury, they think Achilles. So it is a big deal in that respect that it has nothing to do with his Achilles. It has to do with the non-weight-bearing bone in your leg. You got a shin bone, which bears all the leg. Then you got a little bone. Outside of that, there was a little bit of discomfort in the fibula. Not going to keep him from playing on Sunday. Not going to keep him from playing productively on Sunday. Not ruling anyone out other than Carlisle and Buck, who are both on IR. Ebukam may play. Lewis may play. Without Buckner, it's good to have everybody up on the defensive line, and that would be great to have both Ebukam and Lewis playing. Mooney Ward, he's going to be up on Sunday. Good to go. Questionable designation kind of surprised me because he has cleared concussion protocol and he should be up. And Shane Steichen was talking to us as though he will be up. He said it's huge when asked what's it like to have Mooney Ward back. He didn't say it may be huge. He said it is huge. All right. So present tense, Mooney's back. When we talked to Mooney Ward, he talked about being back and looking forward to the challenge of playing against the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes and playing kind of on the opposite side of the field as Sauce Gardner. Here's what having Mooney Ward back allows the Colts defense. All right, because you've got a lot of tools, offensive weapons that the Chiefs have, right? And so with Mooney Ward and Sauce Gardner, you take away 2 of the receivers. Don't have to double those guys. You got those guys locked down. You're going to play press. And if they got somebody in the slot like Xavier Worthy, who is questionable for Sunday, by the way, maybe you got Kenny Moore. If Xavier's in the slot, you got Kenny Moore on it. So you're in really good shape with Travis Kelce. How many people do you want to use to take away Travis Kelce? Maybe you can do it with 1. Maybe you need 3. I don't know, but the Colts are going to have as many as they need. And knowing that you can single up on the outside in press, that lets the mad professor do whatever the hell he wants to with blitzes. So you want to send Zaire Franklin on 15 blitzes on Sunday? Go ahead, because you're not going to pay for it by not doubling one of the exterior receivers. Those guys are locked down. You take them out of your head. They're not a part of the scheme. Mooney and Sauce have got him, and off you go. Does that make sense to everybody? I hope it does. Colts on track, yep. Semper Colts fan says, go Colts, Colts on track. Glad to see Mooney is back. I am too. Like, he may be the most likable guy ever. May need to keep a spy on Mahomes. You may need to. Although, when they RPO, they almost always throw. It's over 90%. Now, Mahomes will tuck it and go. He'll scramble, and he'll get yards. And he's getting more yards this year than he's ever gotten in his life from on a per carry basis. So Patrick Mahomes, you absolutely have to scheme against carrying the football. No question. Hold your lanes, hold your gaps, make sure you keep him penned in. There's no escaping. There's no, 5 steps back, 3 steps over, roll out this way. There's Travis Kelce reading the field and understanding where the hole in the coverage is. No, and no. Don't do it. It's really hard to beat Kansas City at Kansas City. Philadelphia did it in their first home game, but Kansas City has won their last 4 at Arrowhead, and they've won by a significant margin in each. So that margin, the minimum margin, 13 points. Mahomes is a magician. You got to make sure Kelsey's accounted for. Jones needs to be generous, handing the ball to Jonathan Taylor. Need to do that a lot. Barstow Media says Houston has a D that's for real, but at least 3 wins for them have come from a backup QB. Do you think that'll cause a controversy for the game against Indy? I really want that AFC South title. Well, you know what? The game's going to be at Lucas Oil Stadium, not to get ahead of ourselves, but that game's coming up in 9 days at Lucas Oil Stadium. I think the Colts have a good chance to be all right, assuming they escape Kansas City without more injury problems. By the way, DeForest Buckner, responding well to treatment. Wiley Relic 4, can you see Wormley at Buck spot until he returns? I think they're going to rotate lots of people. We'll see if he's up for Sunday. I think a lot of it has to do with whether Tyquan Lewis and Samson Ebicom are going to be up. If you can, and you're not going to move Ebicom inside, but if you have Ebicom on the outside, you can move maybe Tuimoloau inside, and I like the way he's played. Tommy's been fine. Gallimore, not great. So you do have, I think you have a way to utilize Wormley, but it's not necessarily an overt need, if that makes sense. This is going to be important in a month, this Colts-Chiefs game. Really, really important. 9-2 versus 8-3 is huge in the AFC. Right now, there are 10 teams in the AFC that are at 500 or better. 10. That means 6 aren't. That's unusual. You have the teams that the Colts play are all at 500 or better, and I started going down this wormhole of statistics based on Kevin Bowen of 107.5 The Fan. He was talking today about the matchups coming up and the gauntlet of games that they will face. Give JTT snaps. He's playing pretty good. I couldn't agree more. I really like Tuimoloau. I think he's terrific. The point differential, the plus minus against the 7 opponents left on the Colts schedule, all positive. None have a negative point differential. And that point differential combined, including Texans twice and Jaguars twice, 333. It's a plus 333. Divide that by 7. That's 47-ish points plus per team. Now, the good news is that the Colts lead the NFL in point differential plus 115. Freddie says, Kent, your wife said you better get those Christmas decorations up ASAP. We do nothing before Thanksgiving. I'm sorry, we are not racing to the tree store, and we are not racing to go get ornaments out of the attic or any of that stuff before Thanksgiving. And it's maybe the Saturday after Thanksgiving. We'll see. We'll see when we do it. Thank you for the heads up, though. I will do that. And you're right. That's exactly how I delegate that authority. Julie, it's decoration time. And then I sit and I wait to be called to put the angel on top of the tree. Barstow Media says, I saw the nickname the no-fly zone for the Colts secondary. I love it. Well, all right. We have Sauce and we have Mooney Sauce. Maybe we have Mooney Sauce. I go to Moody Butcher Shop, maybe, and they've got sauce. Maybe they can have Moody Sauce, but that really has nothing to do whatsoever with Mooney Ward or Sauce Gardner. There are no layups left for this Colts team. Their opponents are all really, really good. I don't know what games you can't circle any, like Titans at home. You circle and say, that's a win, and you feel pretty good about it. Texans at home, I don't feel too bad about that. I do think that a quarterback controversy, hey, Davis Mills has won 3 in a row. All right? Winning counts. You know what I mean? They were 3-5 when he took over as a starter, and granted, the Texans are kind of led by they're not kind of led by their defense. They're definitively led by the defense. So Davis Mills, though, hadn't been a problem, has he? We'll see what happens with C.J. Stroud if he's back from his concussion next weekend. First, though, you got to play the Chiefs. And if you beat the Chiefs, you may take them out of the equation for the playoffs. You can maybe eliminate the Chiefs from the playoffs with this win. And if you do that, you give yourself a much better chance of playing in the Super Bowl because the Chiefs have played in the last 3 and have played in 7 straight AFC championship games. They lost one of them. They have played in a lot of games in the playoffs and have won a whole truckload of them. So getting them out of here would be really, really nice. Mahomes and Kelsey not needing to face them either here or there in the playoffs would be wonderful. That would be a tremendous bonus. You win this game 9-2, you're going to the playoffs. There is no way in those last 6 games that you're not going to win 2. And at 11, you're damn near guaranteed a trip to the playoffs, right? You know what I mean? Andy says, I'll put up with Indiana basketball being unimpressive for now. At least we don't have to hear over the hump anymore. Thank God. From Mike Nappy, Nap Time Woodson. Goodness. Did we overreact last night? That's a good question. Did we overreact to Indiana's performance last night? It was uninspired. There's no question about that. No question that they looked disconnected. They didn't look interested. Hopefully this Tuesday with an upgrade in quality of opponent, they are interested and they play like it and they shoot like it. But what I saw last night is that teams, even Lindenwood, figured out you got to extend your defense, take away the three-point shot, and make them beat you off the dribble. And that's really tough. So Indiana has got to execute. You got to pop that ball around the perimeter, inside then outside, and knock down the shots. If you don't shoot well, you're not going to win in the Big Ten if you're Indiana, because they're not a tremendous defensive team and they're not a tremendous rebounding team. So you've got to make shots and you've got to take the points as they're given. That's at the foul line. That's layups. Missed layups last night, missed foul shots last night. You cannot have that if you're going to be a winning Indiana team. But this is early. They have not lost. We're getting a little bit petulant about it. And I tried last night in the postgame, man, I really kind of worked hard at it. And I did a very poor job. I kept telling myself to be happy about what was going on. And in my head, I'm thinking, hey, lighten up. Like, it's a 20-point win, for God's sake. But I'm tired of Indiana playing uninspired basketball, and it's not about the money. It's not about NIL. It's not about revenue sharing or any of that crap. What it's really about is the opportunity that each of these guys has, whether it's Tucker DeVries or Wilkerson, Lamar Wilkerson, or Dorn, or one guy that leaves nothing on the table, for God's sake. You got the guy with the mullet out there, and he's going haywire. He's making everybody on the floor look like they're playing in slow motion. And so that's one guy who I think understands that these moments are fleeting. And this season's going to be over almost before it begins in terms of how fast this thing, you're going to roll through this thing. And so you've got to embrace the opportunity every single game that you have to play as hard as you can, because there's going to come a day when you're not able to anymore, and you're going to look back at those missed opportunities when you didn't play as hard as you could, and you're going to regret the living hell out of them. So don't do that. Fight like hell every single possession. Get as good as you can be and help your teammates get as good as they can be. And go get them. Connor Enright is a whirling dervish. That guy is a sprinting machine. All he does is sprint. He's got the ball. He's beating people easily down the floor. If the other guys are sprinting, like I said this morning, Connor Enright is the fastest individual on the face of the earth, and it's not close. All right, but I think I might have been a little bit harsh, because I don't see anybody else being harsh. Like, you gotta tell them how it is. I'm not looking for full Bob Knight, like crazy anger, but I'm looking for accountability a little bit. Sit somebody's ass when they aren't playing well, and when they aren't playing hard, or what I perceive to be not playing hard. What goes on the field and on the court, whether it's football or basketball, and what's reality, sometimes it's different. Heard from a very smart guy today. It takes 11. It takes 5 in basketball. You got one guy not doing the right thing, that can make the other 4 look like jerks. So that can happen. And we don't know. Looking on TV every time, sometimes we know, but not always, who's at fault, who is culpable for that offense sputtering or the defense not being in the right place at the right time. We guess at it, and more often than not, we're right. Butler beat South Carolina 79-72 in the Greenbrier tip-off. Finley Bizjack with 18. Michael Ajayi with 15 and 14. They play Virginia in the championship of that portion of the Greenbrier tip-off on Sunday, 2 o'clock on CBS Sports Network. I'm going to be too busy. I'm going to be watching the Colts. I hate when they stack these events simultaneously. If this was at 4 o'clock, I'd watch. I'm not going to be there at 4 o'clock. Kalen DeBoer, these rumors about him leaving Alabama for Penn State, you know what these are. We're getting a little bit more savvy about this, aren't we? He isn't leaving Bama for Penn State. There's no way he would leave Bama for Penn State. The buyout would cost Penn State a gajillion dollars. And Kalen DeBoer, is Alabama not a better job? Maybe his family's not real happy down at Bama. Maybe fans are insane. You don't think they're insane at Penn State? They just fired James Franklin really for losing 2 games. That's what they did. They said, we've had enough of this. 10 years is enough. He's got to go. Despite the fact, he won Big Ten championships, made it to the college football playoff, I don't know how many times, but James Franklin is a good football coach, and he's going to do really good work at Virginia Tech. Why you want that job? Other than the cash, which you already got at Bama. Why would you prefer Happy Valley? I have no idea. Down in Alabama, I think Kalen DeBoer is doing a terrific job. You're pivoting that program. He's not running Nick Saban's program. He's running his program. And this has taken a little bit of time to really kind of grab traction in his own unique way. He's got a great staff. Kane Womack is one of the best defensive coordinators in college football. Why would he leave? What are you trying to get done? Maybe he goes someplace. Maybe he goes to the NFL. I don't know. But sure, fans are crazy at Bama, but they're crazy everywhere. Like I said, they're crazy in Pennsylvania. Jeremiah Skelton says, I will be at the game Sunday to support our Colts. Let's go Colts. Wear blue, but take care and be polite. Be a good visitor. Don't get all liquored up like the Bears fans do when they come down to Indy and raise all kinds of hell in our town. Don't do that in Kansas City. Be a class act as a visiting fan in their stadium. I always appreciate teams that do that right. Some people are just jackasses. And what are you going to do about that? But Bears fans are real jackasses. Like they take it not to an art form, That's like saying criminals can be artists. They can't. Bears fans are just awful down here. Love Bears fans up in Chicago. Really good people. A lot of good people. When they get in their cars and they drive 2.5 hours south, something happens and I don't like it. Pacers tonight in Cleveland, 7 o'clock, Prime Video, 2-13. Where are they headed? They're headed to the lottery is where they're headed. You almost hope they don't win these games. But with Mathurin, I like watching Benedict Mathurin score the basketball. With him, TJ McConnell back, you got Nembhard, you've got you got lots of people. You got, of course, Siakam. But you've got Huff. Huff played well the other night. We'll see what happens tonight. I still root for the Pacers to win because I'm adult and I like winning better than I like losing. I hope you do too. Right out there, that's where we're going to get together tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock. Be a member to be able to access that live video and ask questions to your heart's content. We usually do it at 9 o'clock every Saturday. So become a member and become a subscriber if you want to win some great swag. Give it away every Monday.